To get started, you want to pick your yarn. So I've gone with Caron Simply Soft in the color Pagoda, Yarn Bee's Fetching Yarn in the color Citrine. It has a little bit of a gold shimmer in it. You'll need a 16-inch cable needle and size 7 and size 9 needles. You'll also be needing size 9 double-pointed needles for the top of our hat, a tapestry needle for sewing on our detail, and a stitch marker. So you want to begin by taking your smaller needles, your size 7, and cast on 80 stitches. Then make sure that they are straight in the round, no twists, and you want to place your stitch marker on your right needle. Then we're just going to begin a basic knit 2, purl 2 rib for 6 rows. So to start off with the knit 2, bring your yarn forward, purl 2. And just repeat that around and for 6 rows. So once you have your 6 rows of your knit 2, purl 2 rib, we're going to do an increase row. So we want to increase 10 stitches through this next row, and we're going to keep with our knit 2, purl 2 pattern. So every 8 stitch we're going to increase 1. So you just want to work your knit 2, purl 2 across your 8 stitches. So once you work your 8 stitches, then we're going to pick up the bar in between your 2 stitches, like so. Stick it on your left needle, and you're going to knit through the back loop. Now an easier way to do this, you can do yarn overs, and then your next row just knit through the back of the stitch to close the hole. So then you just want to continue in your knit 2, purl 2 rib for the next 8 stitches. Then you want to pick up the bar in between your stitches, place it on your left needle, and then knit through the back of it. And you've done your make 1 increase. So we're just going to repeat that around this whole row, which will increase us to 90 stitches in total. So once you've done all your increases and you have 90 stitches, we're going to go ahead and switch to our size 9 needles. So now I'm using my circular needles, so I'm just going to swap out my 7s for my 9s. If you don't have interchangeable needles, just begin knitting with your size 9 and transfer all your stitches onto your size 9 cable needle. So once you've either swapped out your needles or you have your size 9 ready to knit onto, then we're going to begin the body of our hat, which is going to be in seed stitch. So we're going to start off our first round with a knit 1, purl 1 repeat all the way around. So knit 1, bring your yarn to the front, purl 1, and repeat that all the way around. Knit 1, purl 1. So now for round 2, we're going to begin with a purl 1, knit 1. And that's going to create our seed stitch. So just purl 1, knit 1 all the way across. So because we're swapping it around to create the seed stitch, we'll be purling all our knit stitches from our previous row and knitting all our purl stitches. So just purl 1, knit 1 all the way across this row. So once you complete row 2, then we're just going to repeat rows 1 and 2 once more. So you can see our seed stitch beginning to form. So now for row 5, this is going to be an increase row. We're going to continue in our pattern over the next 14 stitches. So we should be on a knit 1, purl 1 row. So we're just going to knit 1, purl 1 for 14 stitches. So once you've worked the pattern over those 14 stitches, we're going to do a knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, increase all in the next stitch. So go into the next stitch as if you're knitting, pull it through but leave it on your left needle, bring your yarn forward between your needles, and you're going to purl that same stitch, pull your needle through but leave it on your left needle. Take your yarn and put it back between your needles. Then you're going to knit that stitch again, and this time we're going to pull it off our left needle. So now that one stitch has become 3. And then we're going to repeat that all the way around. So we're going to work our seed stitch pattern. So after this, we're going to purl 1, knit 1 across the next 14 and then work our increase. So you just want to keep an eye on your seed stitch pattern. When it's a knit, you're going to purl it, and when it's a purl, you're going to knit it. So just keep that in mind and you'll keep your seed stitch pattern. And this increase row will take us to 102 stitches. For row 6, we're just going to work our seed stitch pattern. So because of our stitches where they're laying, we're going to begin with a purl 1, knit 1. And you're going to repeat that across this row. Purl 1, knit 1 all the way around. Then row 7, we're just going to work the opposite. So we're going to knit 1, purl 1 across. For row 8, we're going to continue our pattern for the first 16 stitches. So we're going to start with a purl 1, knit 1. And you're going to repeat that across your 16 stitches. So once you've worked your 16 stitches, now we're going to do our knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 increase. So we're going to go into the next stitch like to knit. Then we're going to leave it on our left needle, bring our yarn forward, and we're going to purl that same stitch. Leave it on our left needle, bring our yarn to the back, and we're going to knit that stitch again, and now we can remove it off our left needle. And then we're just going to repeat our pattern from there. So we're going to be able to knit 1, purl 1, repeat that across 16 stitches. Then you're going to work your increase and repeat around. So after that row, we should now have 114 stitches. So now we're just going to work 2 rows of seed stitch. So we're going to begin with knit 1, purl 1. And we're going to repeat that all the way across this row. Then for row 10, we're going to purl 1, knit 1 across the row. So after you work your 2 seed stitch rows, we're going to go to our next increase row, and we're just going to continue our pattern over the next 18 stitches. So we're going to begin with a knit 1, purl 1, and repeat that across. So once you've worked your pattern over your 18 stitches, now we're going to do our knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 increase. So in our next stitch, we're going to knit 1, leave it on the left, purl that same stitch, leave it on the left, and knit it one more time, and pull it off. Then we're just going to repeat So we're going to work our seed stitch pattern over our next 18. So we're going to start with purl 1, knit 1, and then we're going to do another increase after we reach our 18 stitches, and then we're just going to repeat that across this whole row, and that's going to take our count to 126 stitches. And then we're going to work 12 rounds of our seed stitch pattern. So once you complete your 12 rounds of seed stitch pattern, your hat will be to this stage. And at this point, we're going to start our crown decreases. So for row 1 of our crown decreases, we're going to continue our seed stitch pattern across the next 18 stitches. So where we left off from the body pattern, we're going to begin with a purl 1, knit 1, and repeat that across your 18 stitches. So once you've worked it over your 18 stitches, then we're going to start our decrease. So you want to start off by slipping the next stitch. Then you're going to knit the next 2 stitches together. And then pass that slip stitch over and off. And then you're just going to repeat from there. So you're going to continue in your seed stitch pattern for the next 18 stitches. So you want to start with a knit 1, purl 1, and then you're just going to work your decrease after you do your 18, and then this decrease round will take us to 114. So once you work your first round of decrease, we're going to work 2 rounds of our seed stitch. So we're going to start off with our knit 1, purl 1 row, and then the following row would be purl 1, knit 1. So for round 4 of our crown decrease, you're going to go ahead and work your seed stitch pattern across the first 16 stitches, starting with a knit 1, purl 1. When you make it to your 16th stitch, then you're going to put your yarn in the back, slip the next stitch, knit 2 together, and then pass that slip stitch over and off. And then you're going to repeat that. So you're going to work your seed stitch across your next 16 stitches. So you're going to start with a purl 1, knit 1, and work across your 16 and then do the decrease. Now, like I mentioned before, if your pattern ever goes off or you're not quite sure, you purl the knits, so these flat stitches, and you knit the bump stitches. That's how you create your seed stitch. So if you ever get off pattern or you're not quite sure, you just make sure you do the opposite of how your stitch is sitting. So the flat stitch is a knit, so you would purl it, and the bump stitch is a purl, so you would knit it. So for row 5, we're just going to work in seed stitch pattern. So we're going to begin with the purl 1, knit 1, and repeat that around. And then for row 6, we're going to begin with a knit 1, purl 1, and work that around. And now we're just going to continue with this pattern of decrease. It's written step by step below, but you kind of get the idea of the last couple rows how our decreases will be. And you'll continue until you end up with only 18 stitches. At any point you can switch to double pointed needles to help with the tightening of your stitches as we decrease. And then once you have your 18, you're just going to cut and weave in the ends, and then we'll move on to our next step. So once you've completed your hat, now it's time to add the detailing. So I'm taking my gold yarn. So whatever color you're using for your accent color, you want to cut at least a 24-inch length because we're going to be weaving it in. We don't want to run low. Then you want to pick a part of your hat. This could either be the back or the front, however you want to fix it. And where our seed stitch match our 2x2 ribbing, we're going to come up through the inside of the hat right at that ribbing base, because we want to leave a small tail inside. Then you're going to take your needle and you're going to go up through one of your seed stitch bumps and through the one above it. So you're picking up 2 seed stitch bumps. And you want to pull your gold yarn up through like that. Then you're going to move, and we're going to be working to the left. You can work to the right if you'd like to. And next to that, you have the next 2 sets of seed stitch bumps. So we're going to insert our needle through those 2 and pull our yarn through those. And you want to pull but not tug too much, because you don't want to pull down on your other seed stitches. Then you're going to move to the next set of 2. So as you can tell that they don't line up, so there'll always be one that's higher than the previous one or lower, but that's okay. So now we're going to keep moving down our hat, picking up 2 seed stitch bumps and making this intricate little weave here. So you just want to repeat that process all the way around the base of your hat. So once you work your way all the way around, your hat should look like this. And you can easily leave it this way, or you can go ahead and add our next embellishment. So just like before, we're going to come up from the inside of the hat out through the front. And if you can, keep a straight line. We're going to go about 2 bumps above what we just did. So we have 1, 2, so somewhere around here. And you can space these however you like. And this time you want to cut about a 30 to 40 inch strand, because we'll be doing a little bit more weaving and we don't want to run low. So you want to start off by, from where you came up, you're going to pick up 4 diagonal bars like that. So you have your 4 going in a slant. Then you're going to skip a stitch and then come down 4 stitches in a side direction, like so, and you can see that we line up with our first stitch. And we're just going to make that zigzag mark all the way around. So you can embellish it as little or as much as you like until you get the hat that fits you. I hope you guys enjoyed this Merida inspired hat. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.